My partner got arrested, and I don't know how to deal with it. So, yeah, last week, I was sitting at home with a friend who was visiting, and my partner was sleeping in the bedroom. At 7:45 a.m., I heard our doorbell, thought it was strange, but didn't think much of it. I opened the door to 15 police officers yelling and screaming and pointing weapons at me. Apparently, they were there for my partner of 2 years, accusing him of money laundering. They searched the apartment for hours, took him without letting us say goodbye, interrogated and intimidated me, I'm guessing to gain information, which I had none of and didn't know what was going on even. It's all both a blur now and an incredibly traumatic experience which I have yet to get over. I have had to rebuild everything in less than a week. Apart from his stuff, they took all my bank cards, my phone and my laptop. I had the luck of the friend being there to be able to call family, get them to send cash, call a lawyer, etc. I still haven't seen my partner. I don't know what happened, but I do know they have been investigating for a while, and it's not a random mistake or anything like that, at least from what I saw in articles published later. I have so much grief and trauma that I'm still processing, have been in therapy luckily for a few years, and have had therapy since. I need to grieve my partner, our life, our relationship, our future, and of course, I need to process what happened to me and the whole trauma of the raid that keeps coming back to me in flashbacks. I'm a mess. At the same time, and I'm begging people to refrain from commenting on this negatively right now, I also deeply care for my partner beyond the relationship. I care about him like I would about a younger sibling. I'm a mess, and I haven't allowed myself to properly feel empathy for him because it would wreck me. He comes from an incredibly poor country and poor family. He had to flee a war in the last 2 years. He's been through so much, and I just can't not feel sorry for him, despite if this is true or not. He also met me at a very hard time in both of our lives, and we bonded on levels beyond just a romantic relationship. I'm sitting in the apartment crying for his future and his life, and our life together and everything we could have had. I'm almost certain it won't happen now, and I don't know if other people will have the same empathy for him, and I'm both ashamed and scared to tell people. Scared because I couldn't take anyone saying anything bad about him. Scared because I don't know how to move on with him being there. I can't not feel empathy for him. I'm not okay. My family is already insisting I forget about him, which I understand, I guess, but I can't. I am the only family he has in this country, and his family will never be able to visit him or help him in any way. I won't abandon him through this, even though I'm not deluding myself about the future of the romantic relationship. I don't know how to move on right now, and I don't know if the allegations are true and how true. Obviously, they didn't come by mistake. And I don't know how to survive this right now. I'm supposed to work tomorrow because I have my own business and need to support myself and keep working. I don't know why I'm writing this, but I'm trying to process in every way possible before tomorrow when I have to sit in meetings and talk to people. I don't know what to do. I have to process the trauma, grieve the relationship, and grieve for someone I love and care about so much, while rebuilding myself and figuring out the legal stuff and visitation and whatever in a country where I also am not from and don't speak the language that well. I'm so tired and so scared. If people have been through something similar, would appreciate hearing that. Sad face? I know I will eventually be okay. I just don't see it now. And even if I'm okay, he won't be anyway, sad face. I'm so paralyzed. Now to the next story, story 2. I can't believe how my dad managed to turn everyone against me. This is going to be long, but I hope you can stick with me. I, 22F, cut ties with my father, Mark, over 2 years ago. The reasons? Years of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and his relentless attempts to manipulate everyone around him into believing he was some sort of saint while I was the problem child. I was the product of a fling my mother had with a man who quickly disappeared from the picture. She raised me as a single mom until she met Mark, who seemed charming at first. They married when I was 4, and by the time I turned 6, they had my younger sister, Zoe. Mark adopted me soon after, but that's when things started to go downhill. Mark was very vocal about how he resented my existence. He'd regularly remind me that I was an accident, a burden. He'd openly admit that if he had known about me, he never would have married my mother. It was beyond hurtful. It became worse when my mom died in a car accident when I was 9. He blamed me for everything. I remember once, after a particularly rough day at school, he told me that I was the reason she drank that night. By the time Zoe was 3, he made it very clear he only wanted one child. He never hid the fact that he loved Zoe more, but he took it to extremes. When Zoe started school, he practically abandoned me emotionally. He'd always find reasons to belittle or punish me while treating Zoe like a princess. He wouldn't let me eat at the table with them, made me sleep in the basement, and once locked me in the garage overnight because I had left a toy in the hallway. All this while, he would convince everyone else, teachers, neighbors, family, that he was a great single dad doing his best. When I was 15, something snapped in me. I had just had enough. I was exhausted from his constant put-downs and gaslighting. I started to document everything. Photos of the injuries from his discipline, notes of his cruel words, dates, and times. I wish I had something like a recorder for his words, some way to save the audio of all those moments, like a clip of reality to share, because no one believed me. But I didn't. One day, after he threw a plate at me for not doing Zoe's homework, yes, he made me do her homework because she was too delicate for stress, I finally told him I was going to report him. He laughed in my face and said, "Go ahead. No one will believe you." And he was right, sort of. I went to a counselor at school, but without real evidence, it was just his word against mine. When I turned 18, I moved out and went to live with my aunt, his sister, who was skeptical of my side at first but soon saw the toll everything had taken on me. She helped me get therapy and start to heal. But Mark didn't stop. Oh no, he started turning everyone in the family against me, saying I was ungrateful, that I abandoned my sister, that I had serious mental health problems. He even told Zoe that I hated her, and she believed him. For a long time, I had no contact with her. 3 months ago, out of nowhere, Mark reached out, wanting to reconcile. I was suspicious, but I missed my sister, so I agreed to meet at a neutral place, my aunt's house. I showed up, and things started off tense. He began apologizing profusely, crying, saying he wanted his daughter back. At first, I thought maybe he had changed. Maybe he had seen the error of his ways. Then he started blaming me again, blaming me for how Zoe was struggling in school, how he was in debt because of my rebellion, how his new girlfriend had left him because he had a broken family. I felt the old anger well up, but I kept it together. I told him that he needed to accept responsibility for his actions. I wasn't a child anymore, and he couldn't manipulate me like he used to. He lost it, completely lost it. He began screaming at me, saying I was the worst mistake of his life and that he wished I had never been born. He stormed out, but not before telling me, "You're dead to me. Don't ever come near Zoe again." I sat there, stunned, heart pounding. I just wanted to scream that I wished I had some way to record his voice right then, to show the world who he really was, to clip that moment like a video game and prove everything I had said was true. It's been a roller coaster since then. Zoe reached out once, unsure of what to believe. I'm trying to be patient and hope she'll see through his lies, but it's hard. I'm tired, emotionally drained, and I don't know what to do next. I wish there were a way to capture these moments, to save every cruel word, every manipulation, like an audio clip I could play back whenever someone doubted me. But here I am, just trying to piece things back together and move forward.